Okay, welcome to Healing 101. Now let's dive in and have some fun. I know, I just thought of that one this morning. Well, not this morning, but at work. I like it. Okay, so, as I cause more issues than anything. Okay, so, now, I have so many videos that I want to go ahead and create, and we're going to try and get as much as we can done today that I can, for the rest of this week. We'll see what, works and what doesn't. But first and foremost, I want to talk about blessings, and I want to talk about wealth, and I want to talk about pretty much let's see, which one was it? It was giving your money and your time away. When your money, when I first started doing my healing journey, there was one man that I got a lot of information from that talks about money, and how we have a jar that is our container for how much money we can hold. Now, if you have a lot of money issues, you weren't taught how to take care of money, and you weren't taught to have a good relationship with money. You grew up with these thinking, these thoughts of how money is the root of all evil, and whatever it may be, you have these limiting beliefs about money. The thing about it is that you're going to have leaks in your money jar. You're going to have holes. So, for me personally, I had a lot of holes in mine. My mother was a shopaholic, so her example was not very well. I did not see what it was like to, take care of money. She would just spend money on everything, anything and everything. There were so many times that we went to the grocery store and we would spend $600 on groceries. We didn't even need that kind of food. It was insane. We had so much food that we were never ever using, and it was never, some of it was healthy food, but some of it wasn't. We had a main fridge, we had a garage fridge, we had another garage fridge, we had a back deck fridge, we had a deep freezer in the pantry downstairs. When I say, and then we had a pantry that was a walk-in pantry that had so much food. So I know the psychological process of the hoarding of the food, that fear of not having enough, and all of that. But it was something that, growing up, we weren't taught how to take care of money. And so that example was a very horrible example of money, of, taking care of money. And then there was my father, who was always working hard to make that money, always out of town, on business trips and stuff like that. On top of the fact that, I was used as sex trafficking to create for his business. He used my brother and I to create the contracts and the deals with different companies to work with them so that he could build his business off of those connections. So there was this belief that I had to pretty much sell myself to earn money in a way. Um, Other varying different like degrees of like I had to work extra hard and super hard to be able to even earn anything. Like money could not be given to me. I had to earn it. A lot of things. So because of these cracks, which I was completely unaware of, I had no clue how bad it was until whenever I got divorced from my ex-husband and I was dating a guy straight out of the divorce, and same energy as my ex-husband, just a different form, because mental health is very important whenever you get out of an abusive relationship, because you're just gonna like jump right into another one. That's how it works. Lessons learned. But with that and everything, I got into this relationship with this guy, and he was not an alcoholic. He was actually a drug addict. So during this time, when my ex-husband and I got divorced, we sold the house and we made a good amount of money off of it. Very good amount of money off of it. With that, I got a good amount of that money. Now, I psychologically, I mentally, I subconsciously did not believe that that money was something that I should have. So I was going out and I was spending that money frivolously on things that were useless, that were pointless. This kind of ties into how people are with their tax money too. You have to keep this in mind. If you are someone that goes out and you spend that tax money on things, it's okay to get a couple of things if they're really that necessary, but really and truly, you don't need to go out and buy a new car unless you really need that car, unless it's like a car that you are getting a good deal for. And like there's gray area, so don't take my words and be like, oh well, she says. No, I'm saying it's about being smart with your money, not going out and spending it because you just want it. Okay, so I was going out and I was spending this money like crazy. I was like, I could not hold on to it. It was just like it was going. On top of the fact that the guy that I was also dating, being a drug addict, was siphoning the money from me, keeping me high enough to where like he was, telling me that it was going to be this much money that I needed to pay to, pay for the condo that he was living in, to pay the rent. Come to find out, he owned the place. He wasn't even paying rent. Go figure, lessons learned. But with all of that, then he was, going out and he was getting the drugs and then keeping me as high as he could, just so that I was not coherent enough to be able to think logically. Okay. Now, with that in mind, this is not like victim stance storytelling, because like I chose to be in this relationship because I was afraid to walk away, because I was then addicted to heroin and I was terrified of the withdrawals. Honestly and truly, I was terrified of the withdrawals. But this was also around the time that I was starting to get very heavy trauma flashbacks and remembering things. And so I was at my peak of trying to repress those memories. So that's what I was trying to do subconsciously, was I was trying to pretty much keep it down as much as possible. So that was on me. And I'm grateful for this experience because I learned so much from it. I would not change it, because everything that happened had to happen in the exact order that it happened in. So, but the point that I'm making as I veer off into like different avenues, the point that I'm making is the money that I had for selling the house, I could not hold on to. It was constantly being, gone. It was like I had to do this, I had to pay for that. I was like, there was all of these things that the money was going to. Eventually, this is where it got like really bad, was he realized that the money was starting to dry up. Actually, I told him that I was almost out of money because I caught on too late as to what was happening, and I told him that, even though I had quite a bit of money still left. I told him that because of the fact that I wanted to see how he'd react. So what happened, long story short, he caused a fight, instigated a fight, and then he locked me into the bedroom, called the police, and he framed it to where he said that I attacked him. And because he was a police informant, they arrested me, and he blamed the drugs on me. My children were taken, and I had to go to jail. So that was the start of my descent into rock bottom. Now, I talk about this because like I'm not ashamed of what happened. It was not a very pretty situation because, like, let's be real, I had to fight on my own for a lot of things. From like, I didn't even hit rock bottom at that point yet. My kids were taken, but I still was trying to, get high, and I was still going back and seeing him because I could not. I was too afraid to quit. And it finally reached a point where I overdosed on every single thing because I was trying to die. I really was. That was my goal. Subconsciously, I was trying to. And it worked. And I'll do another video on that one of whenever I woke up from my overdose, because the experience was supposed to happen. This was all divinely planned. But that's whenever I decided to get sober. But the point that I veered away from is the fact that when we have these money wounds and stuff like that, with that whole situation, I was leaking all of this money. It was just like, it was going, and I was giving it away. I was giving it away. And in that aspect, we do the same thing. Whenever we get more money than we think we can handle, somehow magically, I love confirmations, guys, thank you. We somehow magically create these bills, or these different, our car breaks down, or we, have to pay a medical bill, or, something happens. Isn't it really funny how that stuff happens whenever we get into a different area of where we believe we belong whenever it comes to money? Well, same thing. I was doing the same thing. Now, I tell you this story because it took me a while to realize that I was horrible with money. A while, because that was not my wake-up call to how bad I am with money. My wake-up call came a lot later, whenever I had a whole bunch of credit card debt, and I had a whole bunch of loans, and I was deep in the hole because of the things that I had learned. Because at watching my mother, she would always pay with credit cards. Granted, they would pay the credit cards off, to the best of my knowledge, every month when they were due. But the thing with it was that I was never taught how to actually be responsible with money. So a lot of my stuff I had to learn on my own. I had to do research. I had to study. I had to, trial and error. I had to, figure out what would work and what wouldn't work. I had to really focus on my credit score and talk to financial advisors and speak to credit card companies and, really do the research on how to become financially stable. Granted, I still was not 100% financially stable, because whenever I got out here into Tooele, I still was not there. I still was paycheck to paycheck. I was still I was still paying the bare minimum of those actual credit card bills and loans and stuff like that. And realized too, I had moments where up would pop some random bill. Oh no, I, have this went out on the car. I need to get this fixed because we need the car. So, I manifested in a lot of these other things. I didn't know how to say no to a lot of things too. I had a very hard time telling my kids no to some of the things that they wanted or things that, we could or couldn't do. It took a lot of work for me to get to the point of where I am now on being financially responsible with money. Now, am I perfect? By all means, no. I am not perfect when it comes to money. I am still learning and I'm still growing and I'm still figuring things out. But what I do know is that over time, I have slowly, gradually filled those holes up and, cleaned up those cracks and made my pot just a little bit bigger and just a little bit bigger over trials and trials and trials. So we can only manifest money in if we know that we can handle it. God's not going to give us a bunch of money and be like, okay, good luck. He may, to test you, to see what you can handle. And I absolutely failed the first round, learned my lessons, and then got some money again with some taxes shortly after, and did pretty decent. Did a lot better than I've done before, but I didn't do as good as I have been lately. As of lately, I was able to pay off 2 of the loans. I was able to pay off all my credit card debt. But it's been stuff that you have to really get serious. You have to be disciplined in how you want to do it. And then now it's coming to the point of where I am expanding my jar even more to be able to bring in more income. That way I am making it to where I can, slowly grow it, test and see how I handle it, and then slowly grow it again and test and see how I handle it, and so on and so forth. So it's a slow process, but you also have to keep in mind that whenever you are healing that root chakra, you're going to ebb and flow with the whole entire thing, and realize that it's all interconnected too. So it's not only your money and how you handle your money, but it's your time, your money, your health, all of that stuff is interconnected. So if you are, not taking care of one area, the other areas are going to suffer. So you have to kind of find a decent balance with all of them as you slowly grow and heal and grow and heal in all of those areas. So I wanted to bring this up because of the fact that, when it comes to people wanting to manifest in money, You have to be able to put it in the container and for it to stay in the container and to move in and out easily like water. Money is an energy. It's like relationships with people. How you look at finances, how you look at money is if money is a person, are you going to just, not take care of that person? Are you going to just throw it around? Are you going to just like sell it off? Are you going to give it away? Are you going to treat it like crap? Well, then money's not going to come around. Money's not going to stay with you because you're not treating it right. If it's a person, are you going to hoard it? Are you going to be controlling? Are you going to lock it up and never let it come out? Are you going to make it so that it can't leave you and just keep it and never let it see the light of day, never let it go out? That money's not going to come in if all you do is you lock it up. It's an energy. It's just like a relationship. Money is the relationship that you have with yourself and with people. You have to let it just be. You have to, you have to keep it safe. You have to make sure that it's going to stay safe. You have to, you have to use it every once in a while, like spend it here and there, not excessively, but here and there. It's building a relationship with money and with yourself. It's just an energy. That's all it is. The paper, the numbers, that's like just thin air. It's not real. It's not there. So it's a type of energy. It's what you can hold and withstand and keep safe and share, but not. This is where it gets tricky. Sharing is not always the best option too. Okay, there are going to be some people that expect you to give them money. Like you're going to get like people coming to you for handouts, that people giving you the sob stories of, oh, my car, it's breaking down and I don't know how I'm going to pay for it. Oh my gosh. Please. Do you know what that person is trying to insinuate? Is that they want you to help. Lord, this comment alone pisses me off more than anything in the entire world. And I say it pisses me off because it does, initiate a trigger, like a response of anger, because of the fact that this is just, the manipulation behind it is so subtle but so deep. It's such a guilt in there, and like a shame in there, but it's not that noticeable. It's very subtle. I've had people tell me, if I won the lottery, I would share with my friends. Okay, that's cool. That's good to know. I highly doubt that, because I highly doubt that you even think that you're going to win the lottery. I don't even think that you're out there even buying a ticket to win the lottery. So the insinuation that you are giving to me is that you see me as a means of money, and therefore you expect that when I get money that I should share it with you. Really? Really? The audacity of you to think that I should share my hard-earned money with you. I don't think so. That pisses me off, because it's like, what am I getting out of this? Your friendship? We are not friends. We are acquaintances. I don't have any friends. I don't have any friends because nobody has met me on the level of where I believe friendship exists. Okay? Nobody has earned my trust enough to be considered a friend, because I had people in my life that were considered friends, and they were nothing even remotely close to friends. I have been through the deepest and darkest and most outrageous times in my entire life with God and my spirit crew, and some of it with my kids. There have been no friends. There have been no friends. There will be some people out there that see the wealth in you and will try their best to be your friend just because they think they can ride along with you. Many relationships too. I mean, that man, Matt, was only with me because I had money. And he did the exact same thing to girls before me. And that whole story is a whole other story of the stuff that he put me through, my kids through, and other women before me. Horrible person. Horrible person. But there are going to be people when you are on your journey to build your own spiritual wealth and to build yourself up and to heal and to grow and to create generational wealth, to create an empire. That's what I'm building. An empire. Now, there are going to be people trying to get at you, playing the violin and all of that fun stuff. You have to build a very strong and secure base to hold that wealth. And you have to make sure that you know the discernment on when to use it and when not to use it. Really and truly, that's the main point of all that I am trying to tell the story of. But also, it reminds me of the story, The Little Red Hen. This story came to me today, and I grew up reading. I love reading. I absolutely love reading. And reading was my escapism growing up for my childhood. And so because I couldn't get away physically, I got away mentally. So I would read anything and everything I could get my hands on. Everything. I used to love the fables and, those kind of stories because I loved the meanings, the deeper meanings behind them, because I just loved trying to, understand things at a deeper level. It was just how my brain works. But if you don't know The Little Red Hen, I'm going to kind of paraphrase it a little bit. So there's this little red hen that lives in a barnyard, and she, is a mother to a bunch of little chickies, and she's, going around trying to find some worms, and she stumbles upon a seed. She eventually realizes, after asking around and this is where it differs on each story, like there's a cat, a rat, and a pig. Sometimes there's a horse, it doesn't matter. It's just there's a cat, a rat, and a pig in this one, okay? So she stumbles across the seed, thinks it's like a worm, asks around, finds out it's a wheat seed, and that if she, plants it, it will grow and it can be then made into bread. And she's like, hey, that would be a good idea. That way I don't have to, I can feed my kids a little bit better. And, I can have a lot more food than just searching for worms. Smart idea. Okay. So she asks all three of the other animals, hey, who would like to help me, plant the seed? And all of them are like, not I, not I, not I, So she's like, okay, bet, I'll do it myself. Off she goes. She is already a busy hen as it is. She's a mom. Of course, come on. Let's be real. A mother of 3? Yeah. Yeah. That woman's got her hands full, okay? She is out planting the seed, taking care of it, and then eventually it grows up and is ready to be harvested. So she's like, oh, okay, you know, who wants to help me harvest it? And everybody's like, not I, not I, not I. And so she goes out, she gets a sickle from the farmer's tools, and she cuts the plant, you know. She's like, okay, so now what we got to do is we got to, you know, figure out what to do. So she goes in and she's like, okay, well, you know, who will help me like thresh the wheat? Who will help me get it ready to be able to bake it? None of them volunteer. None of them. They're like, not I, not I, not I, you know, not me, you know, 1, 2, 3, not it, kind of shit. Okay. And so, she goes, fine, bet I'll do it myself. So she goes off and she starts to, you know, do all the work to getting it ready to be able to turn it into bread. So, you know, she's like, okay, so, who will help me, you know, bake the bread? Who will help me make the bread? And they're like, what do you think? What do you think that they said? I mean, like, what's the pattern here? You know, like, do you see a pattern? You know, something seems like it's happening consistently. You're right. They don't want to help. So, what she does is she's like, okay, who wants to help me make the, or who wants to help carry this to the mill to be ground into flour? And they say, not I, not I, not I. Then it's like, okay, well then now I got to turn it into, she wants to make it into the bread. And again, not I, all around. And then she eventually makes the bread. Long story short, she gets there all the way to making the bread. And then at this point, she's like, okay, who wants to help me eat the bread? Well, I'll be damned. You know what they all said? I will. I will. I will. I'll help. And she's like, hell no. You don't get any of this. You do not get to have any of this bread. There are a couple of like other stories where they're like other versions, which I think are stupid, my opinion, are, oh, well, we'll be better next time. Kiss my ass. Are you kidding me? No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, oh, I'll do better next time. You're still not getting any bread. You can prove it next time and maybe eat that bread. We'll see. So, pretty much, the gist of the story is the fact that, you know, there are going to be people that come along. And bread is very symbolic to money. That's very breaking bread. Or, you know, your bread, you know, going out to make the bread. The breadwinner, you know, very symbolic to money. This book really hit home for me because it was like, if you are a hard worker and you put in the work to build your empire, to build your home, to build just a very safe place for you, to build your business, whatever it may be, if you are putting in the work and there are others that are not meeting that, and then they are trying to, you know, mooch off of it, I don't think so. God is not going to allow that. Just so you know. Your spirit crew is not going to allow it. That's why it's so important to discern the people that are in your life, because that's why whenever you have money, and if you are someone that is hardworking and you make a lot of money and your finances go down, It's because you have someone in your life that is creating holes, that is leaking your money. It's all interconnected. Everything is interconnected. I will say that a million times over. So that's why you have to be strict and tight with who you allow in your life when you start making good money. Do not be giving money to people that don't deserve it. Okay? You need to learn the power of the word no, and that no is a full and complete sentence, and you do not need to explain anything. Case in point, okay? So, I am going to end my story time here. Story time with Sheena. I give you like 3 stories there, I think. Yeah, somewhere around there. But I hope this helps in understanding that money and the importance of being able to create a safe container and learning how to heal. Like, we're going to go deeper into ways to heal and ways to fix the holes and stuff like that. But again, like I say, you need to understand the basics so that I'm a why person. If you tell me that we're going to do something, like if you're telling me how to do something, I want to understand why I'm doing it. I'm just that way. I don't mean any disrespect. I don't mean to like sound like I'm questioning your authority. I just need to understand the mechanics of it for me to actually get behind it, because I'm just that person. And so I try to do the same. And some people, if you find it monotonous or, like I'm talking down to you, that's not my intent. I'm not talking down to you. I'm just making sure that all bases are covered so that I can go ahead and proceed to the next level. Okay, so I'm going to leave this here, and we're going to move on to the next topic. So I'm going to record another video, and I'm going to go ahead and keep getting these bad boys out because I'm having so much fun doing these and just sharing myself, here in this space. So, love you all, and I wish you wealth and discernment on being able to keep that wealth. Okay? Because I know I keep mine, and I know that I don't let anybody have that. It's mine. I'm like Scrooge McDuck. What can I say? Just kidding. I'm not really Scrooge, but I just knocked over a Pokemon. Pikachu is down. Okay. Off I go.